Now, if you and I wanted to rule the world, or let's just say we wanted to rule our country or even our cities, how would we go about doing it if we were these maniacal, twisted, devious types of individuals? Well, I could tell you we could do it in 3 easy steps. Now, what would those steps be? Well, number one, we have to cancel out God. Let's face it, we don't need the competition. And this God fellow, well, he's a pretty major competitor. People who seem to follow him are grounded in what he tells them. They kind of live a moral life that way, or they kind of follow rules or edicts that he sets out. And not only that, they somehow believe that their freedom comes from him, that he's the originator of their God-given rights and freedom. And really, let's face it, it should be government-given rights, no? Not God-given rights. I mean, what a crazy idea. So if we're going to do that, we have to first discredit God and then outright eliminate him. And if we can eliminate him, well, obviously we need to replace him because, let's face it, people always need something to follow. There's an emptiness in them all. And in order to achieve that fulfillment, they're going to want something to worship. So we're going to make it easy. They can worship you and me. That's right. Okay, so next, now we've eliminated God. Next, we're going to have to eliminate the family. Now, I don't mean, the kids that we're going to influence because they're naive and young. They'll believe pretty much anything. I mean, for example, they could believe they're mermaids, or they could believe they could fly, or boys could believe they're girls. I mean, any one of these things are easy to convince children. But don't forget, we've got competitors. We got their parents who, for some odd reason, love them and tell them counter to what we may be influencing them with. So these parents, again, we've got to discredit first. We have to convince the kids that their parents are pretty much stupid. They don't really know anything, and they shouldn't trust their parents. They should listen to us. That's right. And we should also have them listen to trusted individuals we say that are okay. For example, teachers we could have in their school, counselors, all these types of people. We would have these useful idiots in place to convince these kids that those are the people they need to listen to. And their parents, the other thing that they're really, horrible about is they'll share history. They'll tell their kids what life used to be like and how things should be based on what they've lived through. And let's face it, we don't want to pollute their minds with that. We want to create a dystopian future. And in order to do that, we have to get rid of any kind of a good past and any kind of a history. And the best way to do that is to be the ones who write future history. And, well, let's just eliminate those parents. And really, let's face it. I mean, parents are pretty much horrible. They say no to all these things. But we'll say yes to everything. We'll just let the kids run amok and they'll have nothing but freedom. And they'll just enjoy it so much and in the process, kick their parents to the curb. Okay, so we've got that done. Now, next, don't forget, we've got to take away everything people own. So we might come up with good little slogans like, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Now, my goal, of course, and yours should be that while they're busy chanting these slogans and kind of searing them into their minds, they're forgetting the fact that somebody owns something, and are they happy or miserable? Well, let's not let them worry their petty little minds with that. We'll own everything. And yeah, of course we'll be happy, but they don't need to know that sort of thing. And they're really not going to think about it. So how are we going to make it possible for them to own virtually nothing? We'll just make everything super expensive. That's right. We'll just put layer upon layer of regulations on everything, from building a house, owning a house, operating a car, heating their homes, whatever, you name it. We'll just make it exorbitantly expensive, and we'll convince them that we're doing that for their benefit. That's right. We will effectively get them to believe that, I don't know, maybe we could convince them that the planet is ending, there's a giant crisis out there, and unless they conserve and cut back on all these things, it just isn't gonna, we won't be able to save it. Now, of course, we'll still be doing all the things we do, of course, like jet set here and go there and buy up all these things and heat our homes, air condition them. We'll of course, we'll do all that. We might even, gobble up more real estate because, let's face it, I mean, we need islands to live on and own and recreational properties and all that, but they don't need to own anything. I mean, after all, let's face it, if you're going to have slavery, which essentially these people will be our indentured servants, we need somewhere for them to stay, and we'll house them, of course, but they don't need to own it themselves, and they'll go right along with it. Most of them won't want to do the extra effort because of the sheer fact that we've raised the cost of owning things so much. It means they're going to have to work so much, and, well, Actually, now that I think about it, we probably need to drug them up and do some other things too. If we could somehow distract them and kind of keep them, kind of preoccupied, you doing asinine dances and, just maybe staring at a screen all day. Yeah, that could be it. And then we could pump more propaganda and messages through that screen and convince them that this is their best life. They could focus on asinine, stupid things like, I don't know, people in grocery carts rolling down hills or something to amuse the useful idiots, because they're pretty easy to amuse. Anyway, so if I was going to do that and you were going to do that, here's 3 easy steps. I'm hoping, of course, that the people who are thinking of this idea don't kind of adopt these, because let's face it, they would be fairly successful endeavoring to do all of these. Anyway, I do appreciate you watching. I know it brings shudders to myself when I just think about how this, if this was implemented, how scary it could be. Anyway, like I said, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can also follow me on my Rumble, on my Locals account. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. You can also follow me on Twitter at Camera612, and I will see you next time.